back to another Healing Conversation podcast with your favorite self-care coach, Addie Speaks. Today, we have a phenomenal guest here, and I am just so excited that she is gracing the platform to share her expertise on how self-care and music can influence your mental health. And so, please, Goddess Dorthea, please, wait, before you introduce yourself, I would like to read your bio.
Course, go ahead.
Because I feel like they need to know who you are and the things that you have accomplished throughout your life. Like, I know a little bit about your story, but it's like I need them to understand the where you operate in. You understand what I'm saying? I want them to understand that,
Yeah.
and because I don't want us to start and they don't know who you are. We're gonna know who Miss Goddess Dorothea is. Okay. So
Let's go.
I'm gonna go ahead and read from my tripod here, and
Okay.
yeah, yes. So, Goddess Dorothea is a best known for being a spiritual counselor, a soul healing music therapist, a published author, and holistic healing mystic. She is a soul healing musician with a mission to uplift, heal, and empower the world. As a ordained interfaith minister and a spiritual counselor, she continues to serve as a spiritual well-being advocate, music therapy advisor, and holistic therapist for women. She also has found creative ways to promote the message of conscious spiritual well-being and mental health through music, art, and culture. Please welcome Goddess Dorothea.
Thank you for that warm welcome, Addie. I'm so grateful to be on your show. I love your show. I'm
Thank
a fan of
you.
your show. So I'm so proud of your ministry and the work that you're doing to
Hey,
help heal the
repetition.
world. Yeah, you're doing righteous work, and I feel God is pleased. So thank you so much for what you're doing too.
Thank you.
Um, would you like me to talk a little bit
Yes, please
about my work?
introduce yourself, your work, and what do you do for the community?
Oh, for sure. So I have an interesting journey. I started off as a community organizer. I focused on environmental justice. And I dealt with a lot of trauma in my life. It all started when my grandmother was diagnosed with three very rare forms of cancer. And one of the things the doctor said, if we lived in a healthier, cleaner community, it would prolong her life. So at the time, I was born and raised in Detroit. And we just had a lot of air pollution, a lot of blight, every environmental concern you could think of, we were going through. And I learned that environmental issues also affect mental health.
Yes.
So my grandmother, she got to choose if she wanted to invest in my education or invest in her medication. And
Mm.
unfortunately, she passed my freshman year in college. And I had this strong conviction to provide healing to the world. Because if I could trade it all back, I would give it to her. So I just started going really hard in political activism. I became first vice president of the NAACP, first vice president of Black Student Union. And at the time, I was writing poetry and also writing speeches around social injustice and healing.
Yeah.
And I became a award-winning poet. I won an NAACP award for Let's Share Love. That was my first time actually like getting on the scene. But I've been singing since I was 6 years old, and I've been writing songs and poetry since I was 9.
Wow.
And that was the way that I expressed my pain and my struggles, and I healed through life circumstances. I always was very quiet and introverted, but I could put my words in writing.
Wow.
Um, and that also comes with being neurodivergent. So my brain just works differently from people, but in the world of music, it makes sense.
Yeah.
So once I graduated from college, I was working in nonprofit work, and I woke up one day and I realized like this is not it. Like just functioning off of pain and trauma
Yeah.
and being angry with the world, like the way that I was organizing was not healthy. So instead of building pain or building power with pain, I decided that I wanted to transform the world through healing. So I quit my job. and I went full time into being a spiritual counselor. Um, I had pursued law school, and I went to law school for a year. And that's when I was like, no, this isn't it. So I transferred to seminary school. I got my doctorate in spiritual awareness, or my doctorate of ministry focused on spiritual awareness and spiritual counseling. And since the year of 20, 2017, I've been full time in my work. And I, the tools that I figured was most beneficial for transformation and change was music, arts, and literature. And as I began to do my studies, I started realizing that listening to music has been shown to improve health because anytime you talk to someone, if they're stressed or if they're feeling depressed or if they're going through, different situations in life, you can always hear them talk about the music that they listen to, or you can see social media captions of lyrics of songs. Like music literally like runs the world. And one of the things that I learned on this journey too is that every single organ in your body has its own musical note. Every single organ in your body. So we are music, and music is the key to healing this world. And so that's the tool I decided to go with. That's the one that makes me feel warm on the inside. That's the one that I feel like people really resonate with health, health and wellness, and like bringing awareness to their own problems and struggles. But how I started the journey with my music career is twofold. So I had a mentor. His name was Baba Wheel, and I was telling him that actually social justice organizing was making me um, it was making me so depressed. Like I didn't feel powerful and I wanted to go into healing. And he was like, Dorothea, I think that social justice organizing was your what was the word that he used? He said it was your key to opening your purpose. And he said that every healer has to go through a period of transformation where they go through consistent agony and pain so that they can understand the world and they can heal from that place. And he was like, this chapter is closed now. He was like, your grandmother passed away. There's no way you can heal her, but you can heal yourself and you can heal every person after you. And so he was like, you just went through your journey of transformation. And now it's time to put that into some type of form of art and culture and like build on that. So he recommended me to a producer, and me and the producer fell in love. And before we know it, a year later, we got married. And he helped me find my sound. My husband, he gave me full permission to use his recording studio, and I knew nothing about it. He literally just was like, go in there and do whatever it is that you feel. So I played around with the different EQs and the tones, and I would just write for hours, and I would just talk to him about all my ideas. And before I knew it, I wrote 9 albums, and we were just in the studio constantly. And that's how I created this sound. It was literally me speaking. Every conversation is me and God, and God reminding me to affirm what I want into reality. I manifested my husband through my music. I manifested moving to California and like working for a record label. I manifested like my spiritual coaching career. I'm not necessarily a coach, but my spiritual counseling career. Everything that I put into words has manifested into reality. And music therapy was an effective treatment option for myself and my own healing and dealing with my grandmother passing away and dealing with my own neurodivergent conditions. And also, I have an eye disease. It's called scleritis, it's inflammation of the sclera, and it's directly correlated to the environment. So,
Wow.
like, I had to learn how to transform the environment around me, and music
Yeah.
did that for me.
Yeah.
And so as I began to do more studies, I found out that singing actually releases endorphins.
Yeah.
So every time you sing, like you are literally rewiring your brain with chemicals. Not only that, but listening to music also sends dopamine to the brain. So like you are getting high and like transforming your mind into a healing state every time you sing, every time you listen to music. And I think the most powerful thing of all is when I'm creating music, I'm thinking of what would I want to talk, what would I want to tell my younger self,
Yeah.
or what would I want to tell my children. I have two daughters
Yeah.
as well. Or if God was sitting here with me right now, like I would want to brag to God, like you'd be so proud of me because I am rooted, I am grounded,
Yes.
I am doing all the work I need to do while I'm here on this planet called Earth in this school. I've learned how to energize my chakras. Like it's me telling God, like, you should be really proud of your child. Like I'm doing this and
Yeah.
it's hard, but I haven't given up. And I love my body. I love my life. I love everything you've given to me because I feel like so many of us have self-esteem issues
Yeah.
because we live in this world of instant gratification and we're always comparing, and capitalism does not work unless you don't love yourself because you have to consistently seek for something. So the biggest and most honorable thing you can do to show God that you love him is just love yourself
Yes.
for exactly who you are. And
Yes.
that's what my music is about, is helping you fall in love with yourself,
Yes.
and is helping you to discover self love by identifying the God within.
Yes.
And so, if you love who you are, you automatically love who God is because God is a manifestation of you. And if we say we are children of God, then we should call ourselves by our name.
Exactly.
Then, we're goddesses, we're gods, we're just manifested in the physical flesh. And every time you fall in love with another part of you, you fall in love with another part of God. And
Yes.
so that's what my music is all about. It's about healing through your trauma. It's about breaking intergenerational curses of pain
Yes.
and disease and stress and anxiety and depression. My music is about rewiring the chemicals in your brain.
Yes.
It's about like finding that inner child and just singing with all the love on the inside of you. It's about looking yourself in the mirror and saying like, sis, like you are my reflection and I love you. And my music, it makes me emotional when I listen to it because I remember what I was going through during that time, and I remember what God got me through, and I remember the promises that God made to me in those conversations. And I'm just like, whoo, I'm getting emotional now.
And
I'm
you
just
about to
like,
make me
wow.
cry.
Like God, with me and
Yeah.
you was sitting down with that pen and paper, writing down and affirming all the things you said I am. You said that I am the great I am, and whatever I believe is great, I can be and I can manifest in my life. And in response, God gave me a beautiful family when
Yes.
I felt like I didn't have anyone in this world. In response, God helped me fall in love with every aspect of my body and who I am, and I don't have to cut it up. I don't have to
Yeah.
shift it and shape it. Like the people in my life, the people in my household think I'm one of the most beautiful people on earth, exactly as I am.
Yes.
And I love them the way that God loves me, and they love me the same. So at the end of the day, that's all that matters, is the love of God manifested around the people around you and being confident with that and finding the joy in that.
Yes.
So that's why I do what I do.
Yeah.
And is there anything else you want to know about me?
Yes, because again, I started my healing journey fully last year, and that's why I'm doing the second annual, because I felt like the first time when I introduced the healing workshop, I was just doing it because I had the heart to serve. So I was cooking
Yeah.
breakfast, and I just wanted everybody around. Let's kumbaya. Let's talk about what we
Yeah.
go through and heal from each other's stories. So that's always been something that I've been doing, but I
Mhm.
felt like God was leading me in a path of, I was not just allowing you to do that for for like another hobby. I'm calling you into the realm of healing. And I
Ooh,
didn't get that message until I went through what I went through. And I said, you know what, God, in this situation, because I will always find myself in conversation healing somebody through word of encouragement. And so I was saying,
yeah.
okay, well, this time I can't heal this on my own. I'm gonna need you to step in. And before I even finished the words, God I had already came into the room and was like asking me for permission. Can I heal you?
Yes.
Can I do this part for
Yes.
you? And I'm like, God,
Mhm.
I ain't got no breath in me. Yes, please. You know, and I took what I had
Yes.
already built on. I took on what I already known about the process of healing. I started journaling. I started, doing my own alone time and going to the park just to because I knew I didn't know the power of being alone until I had to be alone to protect myself. Right.
Wow.
I
Wow.
had to do it because I was like, I can't be around certain people because people don't understand, or some people don't understand the importance of healing. And sometimes
Mm,
isolation, that's the only time it can happen because now you only have the voice of God, you know?
that's a word.
So
Yes.
I was introduced to your music, and when I say it took me through this journey like I was on cloud nine, you don't understand, because I was
Ooh.
also going through a spiritual transition. There were
Yes. Yes.
some beliefs that no longer resonated with me, and when I took on
Mm,
that new identity,
yes.
it didn't sit right with a lot of people, and they started calling me crazy and all this stuff, and I'm like, I
Oh, I've been
know.
there.
I'm familiar with the spirit of God. That means I know who God is to me. I know how he feels when I just know how he feels. So when I
Yes.
was going through my spiritual transition, I still felt God. God was
Yes.
like, I'm with you in this. Let's just keep going now, because I had
Mm,
I just be stopping. That was my bad habit. Just be stopping and being distracted. But this time, God was like, just go forward, just keep going this time because I am with you. And that's what I did.
yes.
I let go of other people voices. I'm sorry. I let go of other people's voices and opinions, and what I was like, listen, I did this part already, but now I'm learning that what I was doing was not working fully for me. Let me try something else. And when I did that,
Yes.
I said, I'm gonna just do the opposite. Addie, I don't know what we're gonna do, but we're gonna do the opposite. We used to run different
Felt.
churches to find our deliverance, but now let's run to God. And that looks like not going to a building, maybe surrounding yourself with people that have
Yes.
understanding of what it looks like to have that solitude. Like it's really important.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, I was called all this, whatever, but I was like, I'm just gonna try something different. Let's see where it leads. And look where I'm at. Huh?
Look where you at,
Look at
sis.
where I'm
I'm
at.
so
A
proud of
whole,
you.
it just took a year. And I know God has more for
Yes.
me. But your
Mm.
music, Miss Dorthea, especially the shadow, or you the one that's on the
Oh, yeah.
promo, the shadow work. When I first heard it, because I feel like I still can't get all your music. I'm binging your music. You don't even understand. Like, I'm still trying to
I
catch
got
up.
a lot of music.
Listen, but I have so many of your song in rotation, but I didn't have that one. And when I heard the chant, the light is coming to get back
Get back
everything.
everything the
Come on.
darkness
I said, wait
stole.
a minute, because
That's right. That's
even
light.
listen, I was like, because even in my pain, I still knew I was light. I still
Mm.
knew God had a purpose for me. So when I heard that song, I said, oh, that's the song. God is going to allow me to take back everything pain, disappointments, rejection, abandonment took from me. He's going to allow me to take that back because I am light.
Ooh.
Nothing that God has for me is going to stay in the hands of the enemy. I'm going to get it back. And I remember, I'm trying to stay positive, and I went through an accident, and I was just so upset because that was my car, that was my baby.
Mhm.
And they called me. They said, you got to come get your stuff because it was total. It was like, you got to come get your stuff. We can't repair the car.
Wow.
And instead of me unpacking my car, being upset, something said, you're getting back everything. Come on, this is a symbol. You're getting back
Ooh.
everything the enemy took from you. I said, I'm going to get my shoes. I know I ain't wear it for 2 months, but I'm
I know
get my
that's
shoes
right.
back. Give me everything back, because I know this is a season where I had to be intentional. So your
Yes.
music, it just blesses me, because it didn't take me far from God. It brought me closer. So
Yes.
the question I wanted to ask you next was, using your music, how can it influence someone who want to embark in a journey of self-care?
Yes, for sure. So, I feel like self care is a journey that starts with self awareness.
Oh yeah.
In order to practice self care, you actually have to know how to care for yourself. And so my music, it literally starts with. So my first album was Modern Soul Sister,
Yes.
and the first song on the album is One Me.
Yeah.
And that is
I like
a
that song.
representation of that there is one God and it exists
Yes.
within me,
Yes.
and the healing is my responsibility.
Yes.
I literally say within the song, the trauma is not my fault, but the healing is my responsibility.
Can I just say
And
that right there? When I heard that, I was like, this is, can I have her? Like, you don't understand. Like that line right there, it just made me
yeah,
say, you know what? Now we got to continue, because it's not that it's abnormal. Because some people find it abnormal to heal. It's normal.
yes, it's
Like,
normal.
it's
That's the only
normal.
reason why we exist on this planet.
Yes.
There is not one perfect human being.
Yes.
And we do have examples of ascended masters who came before us: Jesus, Buddha,
Yes.
Muhammad. All these folks were examples of how to take life and use it as a journey towards healing and love and being vessels of love. And so, if you're on a journey towards healing, I recommend you allowing me to be your companion, your modern soul sister. And one of the things that I make it a thing in my music is to invite folks on a journey with me.
Oh yeah.
So I'm your virtual best friend. I
Yes.
am your virtual soul sister. Like when you need someone to talk to and you don't have anyone to talk to, like the intention behind my music is to put that on, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna walk with you, and I'm gonna affirm you, and I'm gonna love on you, and I'm gonna pour into you,
And you
because
sure
when
did
we
that.
need to be poured into, like we're vessels, right? And sometimes as healers and folks who have been through the process of healing their own trauma, like we have this blessing where we want to pour into others and we want to help them become happy and we want to see them as their most healthy version of self. But that often leaves us depleted. So who's pouring into us? So
Mm.
I created a tool that even if I'm not existing on this earth, I will always be able to pour into those who need it the most.
Yes.
So, every single album is me talking to my sisters, especially women. So, talking to my sisters and talking to my virtual besties, my soul
Yes.
besties. I call them soulmate tribe, my soul besties, my soul sisters. Like, I found my light out of my darkness.
Yes.
And this is your opportunity to find your light too. Like, this is me holding your hand and showing you the ropes towards self awareness, towards self discovery, towards self care, towards self love. At the center of all of this is self. And once you start with self and you start what truly makes you happy and what makes you feel your best whole self, the rest is just easy peasy.
Yes.
Like the rest is just tools. And so my music is just another tool towards therapy. It's a therapeutic release of endorphins and dopamine and serotonin and all these great chemicals that allows you to rewire your brain so that you can be an open vessel ready to heal.
Yes, and I love how you said that you'll be your our virtual counselor coach, because it's like you don't understand. I didn't have nobody. Okay, I'm talking about the people that went to church with me, they was not resonating with my new idea. And I was like, I think I'm going to be on this journey by myself, because I wanted the fullness of God, but the
Mm,
realness of him. You understand? And then when I was hearing your words, I was like, oh man, I'm not going through this by myself.
yes, yes.
There was one
That's where the
song.
crown came from. With
Listen,
the crown. I'm gonna hold it
you
down,
see,
rooted and I'm grounded.
yes,
All that I need to be, it all exists in me.
don't
That
make
was
me
literally
cry.
me saying I had no one else.
Yeah.
And like in order for me to stay rooted and grounded and not lose my mind, I
Yes,
had to realize that everything that I needed was already within me. It wasn't in my friends, it wasn't in my family, it wasn't in my kids, it wasn't in my husband. I had to
you're in
find
tradition.
myself. Yeah, and that's another thing. I was born and raised in a church. My grandmother was evangelist Dorothy Irvin.
Yes.
And when I felt like I lost it all, the church turned their back on me.
Yeah.
They said that I didn't pay enough tithes.
Mm.
And I was quiet in church. I was an introverted soul. I wasn't as active, but I was there. And I couldn't understand why I couldn't get the spiritual counseling I need because I didn't have the funds to do it at the time. And that's when I started to find and seek the church within. That's when I decided I wanted to become a minister of God. And I told God, if I surrender my entire life to you, like all I ask is that you heal me and you provide vessels of love manifested in the flesh for me. I want a family. I want people I can depend on. I said, I can love on you and I can walk this journey along, but just send me people who are like you. Send me someone to love on like you. Send me a family to
Yeah.
love on. And God sent me a virtual family and my husband and children. And so the journey does start off very lonely because this is another thing that I learned. The moment you start claiming and speaking over your life what you are, the universe is going to test you with everything you're
Oh
not.
yeah.
So as soon as you start speaking, I want a life partner. I want somebody to walk with. I want a version of you, God, manifested in the flesh to love me how I love you. You're going to go through a period of loneliness you never experienced in life.
Yeah.
The moment you start saying, God, I want to manifest fortune and wealth, I want to break generations of poverty, you're going to experience loss in ways you never experienced
Wow.
before. The journey of becoming is also the journey of humbling. So that when you receive the blessing, you can give nobody else the credit but God.
But God.
And that's what I had to learn. So that's where Root to Crown came from. I was so low that I was in the roots of my life. I was deep down in the dirt by myself. It was dark. It was scary. I didn't know what was manifested before me, but then I grew like a tree. And everything that I did was like leaves on that tree. I am now impacting people all over the world. And I don't care if I have one fan or 1 million fans. I know that God loves me and God is proud of the woman that I became because I came out those roots and I grew like a tree.
Yes.
And it came from knowing that everything I needed was already within me. And
Yes.
at the end of the day, sis, if you remember that, God is going to bless you exceedingly and abundantly. And when I look at you, I see this light shine. I was so excited to be a part of this because I just wanted to speak over your life. I see divine partnership. I see wealth. I see riches. I see the glory of God all over your life. I see God, when you open your mouth, people just astonished because they hear God within you. And that's how I feel when you speak. So you say my music touch you every time you open your mouth and you say anything, whether I'm scrolling on Instagram or we talking right now, I see the reflection of God staring back at me.
Wow.
And sister, you are my reflection. So every time you listen to that song, you remember, sister, you are my star. You're my reflection. And I'm just God manifested in the flesh, reflecting back to you to remind you who you are. It all started from the source. And we are sisters under the light of God. We're all fragments of light, just like a light bulb that's connected back to a source. I'm just another light bulb in a different room, but we the same, sis.
Yes.
And that's why you felt so connected to my music because it's your music too.
Yes.
It's your life too. It's your story too. So every time you listen, and anybody else who listen, I want them to remember that like this is their story. And we're all a part of a collective journey of learning, growing, and healing. And it's okay to say like I'm in my phase of healing because it's not going to stop until the day you're gone.
Wow.
It's not. Like, that's the only reason why we exist on this planet.
Listen, we're going to have to do a part two. You got me?
Okay.